Ireland's Classic Hits Radio presents A Parent's Guide to Social Media.
Fiona Jennings is with us today from the ISPCC, and we're going to be talking specifically about the Aggro-rithms, which refers to the toxic content that kids, in particular boys, have pushed on them via the social media platforms. And I think we all are familiar with the word algorithm, but Aggro-rhythm, Fiona, tell us all about this.
Yeah, exactly. So as you said, Trina, algorithm is probably in our vocabulary now. And when we think of algorithm, that's I suppose, kind of what's behind the systems or the things behind the content that is pushed to us on our social media accounts. So whether it might be your interest in baking or, connecting with friends or whatever it might be. So they're kind of the algorithms. It's the content that we engage with, and it's what's pushed to us on our social media accounts. But as you said then, Aggro-rhythm is something that we're probably not so familiar with. So this is the term now that's being used to describe, I suppose, the toxic content, if you like, that is pushed towards, in particular, young males on their social media accounts. And sometimes it's just by the virtue of the fact that they identify as a male, and that can be a reason that the content is pushed towards them. And obviously then the more they engage with that type of content, it increases then the frequency, I suppose, that is pushed to them on their accounts as well.
So it happens pretty quickly as well. Once they go onto the device, they can get this content, within seconds really.
Yeah, so Professor Debbie Ging from DCU published a fantastic report there just a couple of weeks ago, and they really took a deep dive into this whole space, setting up accounts across 2 social media platforms, both identifying as young males, and they themselves were even quite surprised in terms of how quickly that type of content was pushed to these accounts of 16, 17 and 18-year-olds. And some of them, it was only after a matter of a few small minutes. I think in some cases it was as little as 9 minutes, and this content would start to be pushed towards them without them even having engaged in the type of content.
So it's not a case, if a parent might think, maybe they're searching for things and this is why. Because the way, if you're talking about, garden design, you might notice on your own social media you're suddenly getting loads of ads for garden design. In this case, it's not necessarily that the boys have been searching for whatever, this toxic content. The stuff will be fed to them regardless.
Yeah, from that report, what they identified there was that even regardless, just these accounts that were just set up and that type of content was pushed towards them. And I suppose the researchers' conclusions was just by the virtue of the fact that they identified as a male. Now, the report then does go to show, and we know from other, I suppose we only have a limited amount of research really into the whole Aggro-rhythm. And sometimes, though, as well, it can be searching not necessarily for this type of content, but just content around maybe fitness or gaming. And by searching for that type of content, this type of toxic content can be pushed towards them then as well. And obviously, it's hugely concerning because it has an impact on boys, and it also has an impact on girls as well. And I guess also at the ISPCC, that's something that, that we'd be hugely concerned about as well.
So what kind of content would it be? Is it violent content or what is it?
Yeah, so it can be grouped into, I suppose, different things. And really it's about content that would put forward males as being strong, being superior, and really kind of anti-female or anti-girl content. So it can often be looked at in terms of what males need to do in order to progress, to gather wealth, or to be seen to be popular, or to be seen to be successful. The messages that it's trying to get through, they can actually be quite harmful. They're very harmful in terms of how boys are seeing girls, how boys treat girls, but also the reverse as well in terms of how girls feel that they're supposed to act or to behave around boys. So it can be quite concerning. The one positive thing, I guess, that is coming through, though, from the research is that boys are actually speaking out about this. They actually are talking to their parents about it. So that's something I think that it's really important, for your listeners as well to recognise that, when the space is created, boys are actually beginning to talk about this type of content. So I guess from a parent's point of view, it's really important that, that we're not shocked maybe by some of the things that they bring to us, and that we listen with an open mind, and that, we're curious as well as to try to find out what is their sense of the content that they're seeing. and to challenge their perceptions around it as well. That's challenge it gently, I should say, is really important too.
This is a parent's guide to social media. You can catch up on all the episodes, which are available as a podcast. Just search Ireland's Classic Hits Parents Guide. This has been a Sound and Vision initiative, funded by Comisiún na Meán, with the television licence fee.